it's Rob here and welcome to the first of my build videos on my new Tamiya Midnight Pumpkin on the CW01 chassis. This is a gift, many thanks Peter again, who's from CW01 Creations, and we'll start off as always on step one. Now I was going to skip through this because I've already built a lunchbox, but I've recently rediscovered that for that build it was just a time-lapse video, so I thought I'll go through this in a bit more detail. And as you can see here, step one is sorting out your electronics. For some reason they never cease to amaze me, do Tamiya. Yes, I've already done that, and if we skip to step two, as you can see I've already done step two and installed the servo saver. Again, not going into too much detail, but you need two parts A4, and I think, and I can't remember now, I've used parts P5 for my servo, which is in step one, and then we need P4 and P2. And again, the ball joints, because they're screwed onto metal bolts, I've used my good old thread lock to hold them in position. So that's step two done. Step three is installing the body mounts onto the chassis, and they do, or it does use the same body mounts positions as the lunchbox, but they are slightly different in this, and there's actually two different types if we get the other one out as well. So if we look at them side on, oops, so nearly dropping them as usual. You see one's got two little tongs hanging down, and that denotes that they're the back ones, and the front ones can go on like so. So what you can do is getting your washer and your screw on the front. At least you can start screwing it in, and then, oops, wrong one, mount the mount for half an hour. But the other side you have to put in position first, and then get your screw and your washer and screw it in like so. So I'll finish that off and we can move on to step four. Step four is installing the servo. It should go in here with a little bit of fiddling, and for some reason, if you can see there, Tamiya have created square and oblong, whoops, and oblong holes. No idea why again. So we're going to need two 12mm M3 self tappers and two 3mm washers. And then we just need to tighten those up. Okay, just before we move to step five, there you can see the servo upside down installed. It's quite tight, not too much movement there, so I think we'll leave that as stock at the minute. And step five is installing your receiver and electronics ESC. So I've already installed the receiver there, roughly where it says to put it and fed the aerial through. Ready. So we've now got the ESC and I'm going to lob it just about where it says with double-sided tape and press it down, and then we need to install the switch all the way down there. But what you might notice is I've cut a chunk of the length of the switch off. What I've found, as well as other people I'm fairly sure, is that over time, with dust and stuff getting in it, because most of these don't have dust covers, it starts to get jammed with dust, and with the longer length it starts to lock and not switch on and off properly. So found cutting it down a bit does help quite significantly. We need a couple of 2mm by 6mm screws and two 2mm washers, so I'll crack on with that and we can nip on to step 6. Step 6 and 7 are installing the rear drive shafts, and we're going to need B3 and B4 and this strange little B1 bit which I've already attached, which has oil on it for some reason, but hey. And it's just a simple case, and I'll dry fit all of this for you, but it's just a case of taking MG1, popping it in like so, then one of your bearings, and I'm using metal ones, so I'm not greasing anything up, but if you're using the stock plastic bushings then you should grease this bar, and then you poke that through like that, and get another bearing for the other end and poke it in, and hopefully it's quite a tight fit. Yes, so it should hopefully stay in. In fact, let's take that bar out and push it in. Ooh, yeah, there we go. I think that's all the way in. So yes, nice firm tight fit, and that's your part 6. Step 7 is similar, and then we've got this counter gear and a bearing fits in there, and the shaft part BD1, part BC7 spacer. That's better. And also, whoops, this little BT1 850 bearing goes over there. So I'll get the stuff out for step 8, and I'll dry fit that just to show you, and then we can move on. Right, step 8 is making up the diff and then joining, shall we say, the gearbox together. So again, I'm going to do all this as a dry fit just to show you. So you need 3 of these planetary small bevel gears, 3 of these 3 by 14 mil bars, and it just simply pops in like so. You then need to get the gearboxes or the rear axles lined up, and then we've got this part here which is BC6, which is the differential shaft, and it pops in there, and the diff pops in something like so. I can't find it. Oh, there we go. It's not going in. There we go. And then you should just be able to join the two halves together like so, and then it's just a case of screwing the 3 screws in. 1, 2, 3. So we'll get that done, get it all greased up, and join you shortly. Okay, so here's the result from step 8, and just point out to you where the screws go. The 3 screws go there, 1, 2 and 3 there. Don't put one in there because that will be used in step 10 to mount the wheelie bar. And there we go, she's all done, all greased up, and we can move on to step 9, which is making up the motor ready to be installed. And there's a note here that says about positioning paper brackets caution sticker sheet lining between the motor and pinion gear to adjust the clearance. So I've already done that, and I think I've tightened it up. Can't bleeding remember now. How bad's that? Yeah, there we go. And you also need to wrap this releasable tie wrap around and leave a bit of a gap, so we'll just nip that off there. We then need to take part of D2, and if you look at it a certain way round, you'll see there's some hexagonal holes. I can't pick it up. I can't pick me nuts up, Peter. And you need to pop a nut in each side, and then you need to take these parts here, which are D1s, and pop them in as well to presumably hold those nuts in place. And then check my orientation. We pop that on there. I'm using these 3 by 6 mil machine screws. And we can sort the stuff out for step 10. Okay, the final part for this video is step 10, which is, what do they call it? It just says attaching the motor, but it's also attaching the wheelie bar. And for this we're going to need the wheel, which is D10, this BD5 spacer, which is brass, a 15mm screw or bolt, because it's going to be screwed into a plastic nut, which I've not seen before. So this is part A5, which surprised the hell out of me. So I don't think I'm going to tighten that up too tight, because it's only plastic. And there's one wheelie bar made up, and I'll fit that in a bit. We've got another few things to do first. We've got these parts here which are D5 and D6. There we go. And then you need this, what do they call it, a tapping screw, which is 3x12. Oh no, I'm reading that wrong, 3x21. I thought 3x12 was a bit short. And I'll do the other one in a bit. And then you need to sort out the orientation. And then what we can do is take the cover and pop one of the screws through, line it up and start screwing it in, and then change hands because I'm right-handed. And then for the wheelie bar we've got two different sized screws. We've got 12mm and an 8mm, and you need to get them the right way round so that it closes the diff housing up. So the longer one goes this side. If you can ever get the thing lined up, there we go, eventually. And the 8mm goes on the other side. And that's what it should look like once it's installed and ready and done. Oops, that's the right way up. So, I hope you enjoyed watching, and look forward to seeing you for the next one, which will be starting step 11, whatever that is. Thanks for watching. Bye!